Good evening, and God bless you wherever you are watching this program that I've prepared. And I know that it's going to be a blessing for many. And of course, it's not going to be a lecture because I would like you to have fun as you are learning. And it's something that I have prepared and for I would say many years now, because I started actually doing parenting conferences and seminars in our church, but I have grown um, more ideas based on my work, my experience, and the different things that have been happening around the world, and seeing many parents that are struggling, especially in the societies that we are living in right now. So I thought it would be a good idea to share good parenting tips so that maybe someone can hear and change their way of teaching their children and maybe learn also. So before we start, I'm Dr. Regine, and this broadcast is called Parenting Time to Learn. Parenting Time to Learn, and today I'm just going to focus on the introduction. And I hope you're going to really be blessed by what you're going to hear tonight, and also spread it because you might know someone who really needs to hear the truth. Or when I say the truth, it's not my truth, it's the truth of the Word of God, because I'm going to be using the Word of God a little bit as well. Or someone who may just need to reflect on their own parenting based on the different tools that I'm going to share, which are based on the things I have learned over time as an education specialist, or also as a mother or a pastor, which are all my roles. So, because tonight I just want to introduce the parenting time to learn, what to expect, what will come, what will we be doing. I first need to introduce myself because everyone does not know who I am. So, as you may have seen my name first, I'm Dr. Regine. My full name is Regine Mfumu, and uh, and if you hear my accent, I am actually a French-speaking person. I know some people may tell me that I'm coming from the Caribbean or I don't know where, but it's difficult for anyone to always say straight that I am from France because I have some kind of mixed up, different accent mixed up together. So yes, I'm a French-speaking person. Grew up in Paris, where I had my two boys. I became a mother while living in Paris, but I have been in the UK now for many years. And by God's grace, those young men have become one is a teenager, 17 years old, and the other one is an adult because he's 21. And I can say I am a proud mother of a graduate because he just graduated from university. And I praise God for that because he actually did very well. So I am a mother of two young men. And as I am introducing myself as a mother, I did not say I am a single mother. And I hope that this is the first teaching tonight. So, I am a mother. Why? Because obviously I did not have the children alone. I had them with a man. Even though the man was no longer in my life at some point of time, their father, of course, he was still there. He supported them, he supported me, he supported us financially, he was there emotionally when he could because he was a diplomat, he could not always be there, and he was there. The children could have access to him, I had access to him, so we could count on him. Therefore I cannot come here and say that I was a single mother, but maybe now I can define myself as a single mother because he passed away. Now I can say I am a single mother, but why the the dad was there and could support the children alongside with me. I'm not When I say alongside, it doesn't mean that we were in the same house because he lived his life and I lived my life. We were separated, but it doesn't matter. The most important is that he was still supporting. So I was not actually doing the education alone, though I was part of the education, I would say, on a daily basis on myself with them. This is important because many people have become victims of the fact that they are single parents. So they become victims of themselves and they put in their children a mentality of a victim because of being alone with their children. So, my children, when you look at them, you will never know that they grew up in a household without a father. They are well balanced, and it's not me saying, it's everyone who sees them and the way they behave and the way they are. Why? Because I have never taught them or brought them to think that because their dad was not physically there, they should hate him, they should not be close to him, or they should look at him as an absent parent. I was actually fulfilling the role of a mother and the role of a father to them. But whenever I could, they had a brother that sometimes I would call to come and help in areas where I could not, especially when they started becoming teenagers. I had to call men that were around me to help or speak to them and things like that. But it brought children who are balanced. That is the reason why I did not introduce myself as a single mother. Though I was single with two children, I was actually a single woman who was educating and rearing two young men because their dad was still present with, I would say, the little that he could, with help, with assistance where he could, and especially was supporting us. So we need to first put that straight. But I'm going to develop a bit more about that a bit later because I want to bring draw the attention of many to the fact that when we become a victim of the singlehood, single parenting, it can affect the children in a certain way. We're going to talk about that in one when we have started developing the topics that we want to do to develop, and I'm going to tell you a bit more a bit later. Now, I'm also a pastor, a founder of a church called Rema Resource Center. And this church is based in the UK, where we have our headquarters. But we also have a branch in Haiti that started in 2016, and another one in Cameroon that started in 2019. So, obviously, with the church, I have traveled around the world. I went to Asia, I went to India twice, I went to Japan, I went to Haiti, America, Canada, I don't know, Africa, well, Europe, of course. So I think the only continent I have not visited yet is Australia. And I give God all the glory for that because you see, before becoming a pastor, I used to be a writer, and I was writing and going around and talking about my writings, and I was traveling a lot already. And but I will say that because of the gospel, I had indeed discovered the world and discovered many cultures because of the gospel. So I just give God all the glory. And I wanted to say this because sometimes we think that when we are serving God, it stops us doing other things. Serving God has not stopped me being a good mother. It has not stopped me having a career. It has not stopped me doing anything else. That is the reason why I wanted to mention that just as a start. And then even standing here and talking about parenting, I'm still a pastor and a pastor of a big church, really, because when we look at all the people that we have in the different areas in Cameroon, London, and Haiti, it is now a lot of people that you have to take care of, and you are always called and asked questions and this and that. And you know what? You need to do. You need to be there actually because church is about the souls first. It's not about the buildings. So now, in addition to that, I'm not finished. I am also a teacher, a qualified teacher, but I stopped teaching in schools uh, 11 years ago to work as an education advisor or also called education specialist, which is what have been doing for the last 10 years, 10, 11 years now. And this is actually one of the best roles I prefer in terms of education while I'm talking about teaching because it allows me to really work one to one with students and help parents alongside the students to actually see things that can work. That is the reason why I would like to really bring some tips to people, because with my work, we have trainings, and those trainings we help us to also view different way and strategies that have also helped me in my own parenting, and also help me to advise people around when I meet them and they are facing children who are causing them troubles. So, as an education advisor, of course, I will also be able to bring in here some colleagues so that we can speak together and have you ask us questions so that you can have more answers, and not only answers that are coming from my own experience. So, parenting time to learn. Now, what is it going to be about? It is a broadcast that I want to be very interactive. So it's not a lecture to come and give you lessons, because first thing that you need to understand, if you're a parent to be, or just you're taking care of children, know that there is not a parenting system or a parenting pattern or a parenting, how would I even call it? Um, Technique, yes, that's the right word, that is perfect or that works. You will never be a good parent to my own children, because they are my children and I'm taking care of them. Therefore, I can only be a good parent to them. So, what I'm trying to say with this is that everyone who is taking care of children can be a good parent to them, as much as everyone who loves children can be a good parent, because in parenting, the most important is love. And we're going to develop a bit further in another time, because we need to understand, and we're going to hear it throughout, that love is key. However, there is good love, and there is a kind of love that does not benefit a child. Love should be balanced to create a balanced child. If your love is giving, 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 and not teaching boundaries to a child, you are wasting that child. You are spoiling that child and you are wasting them. When I say waste, it means that you are creating a child who will not be able to do anything later in life. So we need to really have a balanced kind of love. Protective love, not overprotective, but love that is just in the right proportion. Correction when it needs to be, and also praise when it needs to be. So, now, what is parenting time to learn going to bring to you? We're going to be talking about children who are in difficult situations, or who are facing learning difficulties, or their behavior is just difficult. And then you are asking yourself questions about how you can become a good parent to such kind of child. How are you going to behave when you are facing difficulties at home with a child that you cannot handle anymore, who is taking control, and your house is no longer calmer? You can truly see that there's no happiness in your home environment, and you don't know what to do. Those are the things we're going to be speaking about. And especially when you have lost control over your child, what do you do? How do you live a life that is not stressful for yourself and also for your child? Because you know what? We always forget that when we are too stressed out, the children are also stressed out. I mean, it's a boomerang effect. And everything that we are going through with a child, there's a way that they also receive it, because it's a give and take and give. So we're going to look at positive discipline. How does it work? How do you apply it for it to work? And we're going to be talking also about how you can help your child as a parent to fulfill their full potential in life, to go to school, to do the little things that they are meant to do at the time they are given. And also, what are the skills that you can see in your life that can set them up for life? What are the skills that you want them to develop in their life? So, we're going to be looking at all these things, and, of course, help you to get answers in a way that can allow you to start educating your child. Now, the first thing I want to say as we introduce today, I want to talk about the fact that educating yourself is important. and you should educate yourself as much as possible. You know the reason why? Some of us became parents without getting prepared, or we didn't have a real role model of parenting that can set us up for life to be a good parent as well. And sometimes we make mistakes and we repeat the things that happened to us, we start repeating them on our children because that's all we know. But unfortunately, when we give the children things and we are not prepared, we can actually put them in bad situations. We don't need to be perfect to teach our children. However, we need to be learning also from others or from the experience of others and get information so that we don't repeat the mistakes that maybe our own parents made with us. We don't repeat them on our children. We don't just continue and then it becomes worse and worse, like a big snowball, because then we won't be able to be in control and then we will lose our child through every different things that is happening in our societies right now. Now, we also going to teach how can you praise a child? How can you encourage a child, even though they are difficult? But that comes with learning to know the child first. If you don't know the child, you cannot really be able to praise them and they appreciate that praise. We're also going to be talking about how to bring love back when love is gone. How? How to, I mean, teach respect. Respect. Okay. Now, those are the things we're going to teach. But I want us now to speak a bit about parenting globally because we live in societies that are gone wide. We see children here and there that are left to themselves. They don't even know what they're doing anymore. Sometimes I remember I was in schools, working in schools before, and I remember when I used to have a year seven to year 13, and then there's a year seven child that every time that I went out of my classroom, no, I went out of the school after the lessons, I would see that child coming out of a chicken shop getting fast food. And then one day in the classroom, I asked him, why is it he's always buying this food? He said to me that the parents would not be at home by the time he returns home. And I said, why? He said both parents are working. I don't remember exactly if it was both parents or the parent, a single parent. But anyway, the child, year seven, year seven, I think it's about 7, 11, 11 or years old, 10, 11, I can't remember exactly. Anyway, this is a young teenager that the parents are giving money already to go to the shop after school to get food and then go home, eat, and they might go to bed alone without a parent there. Now, let me ask a few questions. What happens when that child start not buying food and start buying drugs with that money? What happens when that child answers the mobile phone saying to the parents saying, yes, I am home, and actually they are with their friends in the park? What happens when that child start misbehaving with the parents? What would the parents say? Well, there was an abandonment there. There was something there. And we need to understand that the children, that when we are having children, first, a child is a gift of God. So we need to take responsibility for being parents. We cannot abandon the children to themselves and say, you know what, because I have put myself in so much debt, I need to work harder, I need to work more to pay my debts, to pay the rent. The child didn't ask to come into this world. God sent the child, and the child is a gift. So you cannot complain because you are having a child. You cannot complain because the child is there. And you cannot say that you are working hard to feed that child. You have the duty of care. The duty of care is important to speak about because when we misunderstand the duty of care, we start even reproaching children by taking um, justifying the fact that we have to work more because of them. You don't have to work more because of a child, because the child does not need money or food. They need you. They need your presence, because imagine if you are no longer there, that money we are giving them won't be there. Whatever you have been giving them to replace you is not going to replace you. That is the reason why many children are walking out there being lost, because parents don't spend enough time with them. Growing up, my children now, one is 17, one is 21. I used to play football with them. I am the one who taught them how to play football. I am a woman. I would go out and play football with them. I used to impose every Sunday is family time. Sunday afternoon is family time. We sit there. You know what we did? We used to have a time where we are playing cards. We are, or we have a movie night. We just sit there. We put the movie. We buy popcorns. Everyone had knew what they are bringing. We just put there and wait, and then we watch. That was bonding us. You see, because I have a very busy schedule and I used to travel around the world. But when I am home, I need to make sure that I am there for them. I am there and they are prepared that when I'm not there, they know what they're going to do. So it's not a parenting system where you're omnipresent, but you have to be balanced. Why, even when you're not there, they have to find a kind of balance. And when you're not, I mean, when even if you're there or you're not there, they need to find balance. That's what I'm trying to say. So but now, what happens when you are there and the child lives as if you're not there? That is what is happening mostly these days in our families, because families are more focused about their career and work and leaving the children alone. We can't afford leaving children alone, especially in the kind of society that we are in right now. How many single parents, especially women, were dating someone, neglecting their child, and the child starting going wayward? When you're turning around, it's too late. But you were focused on a man who is not the father of that child while the child was going wayward. And many suffer from the consequences today because the child is already far gone and it's difficult to bring them back. How many were in that situation where they were after work, they were after money, and the same situation happened? And sometimes the money you are going after, you are giving that child, and the child is going to get into drugs, the child is going to get in the street. Look at the example I just gave. That young boy who was always eating from fast food, going home after 3. Imagine from 3 to the time he's going to go to bed. I don't even know if on the time he goes to bed, a parent is there. He's going to be alone at home. Do you know what he's going to do? These are how children end up in the streets. You see? And we need to understand that if we don't offer children a safe environment, an environment that they want to be in, what child wants to come home and find an empty house? I remember my young son who is 17. Oh, first of all, my children, whenever they go out, we say we speak. They tell me goodbye. I say goodbye. I say have a blessed day and everything. Now, my child, I remember, who is 17, one day, all the time when I worked, I will always come home, I think, before him. And there was one day, I think he came before me. And I remember the remark he made. He said, oh, it was very funny when I came, because we have the stairs. And when you're coming, you have to go up the stairs. Then you can get to the living room where I used to be. He will always find me before he goes to his bedroom. And then he said, when I came, I said, hello, mom. And I had no answer. It was weird. You see, children need to know that they will find you there. It's not the food you give them, it's not the money you give them. They just want you to be there. He said, yeah, it was weird when I came today and I said hello and you were not there. And also because most of the time, if I didn't come on time, I would send a message. And I don't know what happened that day. I would send a message so they would know where I am. And that has made my children to be balanced in that way. Like my son, who is 21-year old, one day he was going out with his friends. They went in a place and he told me we are going to be in this place. And then it started raining. They could no longer be there. They decided to go somewhere else. He messaged me to say, mom, we are moving. We are going to another place now. And I remember stopping thinking, he's with his friends. How many of them thought of telling their parents, we are no longer in spot A, we are now in spot B? You see? And that he did, he was maybe 18 or 19. But it's because he was educated like that. What are the boundaries you set? What are the foundations you have set for your children? Some people want to set foundations where children are already teenagers. It's too late. You've got to set foundations from childhood. From childhood. Because if you don't, it's going to be too late. You see, foundations and boundaries does not mean you don't love your children. I love my children, like every loving parent would love their children, but yet and still, I've got a heart to correct them when I needed to correct them. I did not teach them to be children who are squandering money, who are using things without thinking. I taught them because when they were growing up, look at that little child in year seven, whom the parents are giving maybe 20 pounds, I don't know how much, every single day to get food. What do you want that? Why and how do you want that child not to fall into drugs one day and start buying that? Because he has no one around him to stop him, really. Now, my children, as they grew up, if you were 10-year old, when he was 10, I will give, I think it was £5. When they reached 15, I moved to 20 pounds. But I think between there, it was maybe 10 pounds. 12 is 10 pounds. That's what they had a month, not a week, by the way. And they have to manage their money. And if you wanted more, you can wash my car and then I will give you more money. Oh, yes, that's education. That is education. And I'm coming to that in a minute. So, you see, I taught them the value of money in a way that they don't squander it. And when they started having their bank accounts, I don't go out there checking. When they first had their phone number, their mobile phones, you see, I will let them with their phones. I don't check. But they knew that randomly one day I'm going to say phone check. Everyone had to open, remove the code, and give me the phone. And you don't know when it is going to happen. So you see, I did that until a certain age, and now I'm not doing it anymore because they didn't know when it was going to fall. But it was a way to tell them that they have to be careful what they are doing. They have to be careful what they are doing, how they are using their phones, how they are using their money, how they are using their time, how they are using things. So these are the education that I was giving them. Okay, you may think, why would I do that? Well, it made my children to be respectful and not to be liars and not to be doing things behind my back. Because those are the foundations that I put there. I taught them, telling them that no matter what you did, even if you did something wrong out there, if you tell me, I will defend you. But if I find out, you are finished. That's how I taught my children. And this is something key and capital to teach a child when you want a child to trust you. And let me give you an example. The one who is 21 one day came telling me that he had being bullied by a group of people in his school. And after 1 year, they attacked him and he fought with them. When he returned home, he told me that he fought. I was surprised because my son is very calm. I said, "You fighting?" And he fought three young people. I'm like, wow, what happened? I said, okay, that's fine. I'm going to handle this because you told me, you know. So I contacted the school and said there was a fight. First, the school didn't know. So I was the one telling them that my son came back telling me this. Then they wrote back saying that the rule of the school is this. I said, excuse me, you are not putting my son on detention. First of all, you did not know. I told you where the fight was and I told you to look at the camera. So you found out because I told you, because I told my child to always tell me the truth and I will defend them. Now, for telling the truth, you want to act. We could have also have kept quiet, but I came to tell you. So you are not putting my son on detention because I have already spoken to him. However, he said that he was attacked. So check the cameras and you're going to see that he actually defended himself. So when they called the people in the school with whom he fought, they lied. And the camera proved that my son was saying right. And then they said that they have to take action anyway. I said, you can take action, but my son is not part of your action. If you do, I will come after you. And you see, and the school had to change. My son was meant to be excluded, but they put him on isolation, and the other children were excluded. And I believe that my son saw that I defended him, as I have said, because he came to tell me something wrong that he did. And that's how a parent should be. Not that a child has done something, you just start shouting at them or doing wrong. I mean, pushing them actually in a place where they will think, in fact, I can never tell the truth to my parents because I will be more in trouble. You see, this leads me to one point. That point is education. Let me tell you something. Education starts from home. School is there only to instruct your child how to read, how to write, how to do maths, and also make sure that the behavior gets in a square. But to put a behavior in a square, it means there has to be a behavior there already. But where is that behavior coming from? It comes from home. So education is from home. If a child is not educated from home and you abandon your role to educate to the school, that is what makes lots of children who are lost out there. Because the foundation that is meant to be done at home is not done because parents are waiting for outsiders. What does a teacher has to do? Listen, let me tell you something as a teacher, because I was a teacher for more than 10 years. I was a teacher for more than 10 years. When I used to be in we are preparing parents evening. We used to know in advance how and who some parents would be. Why? Because of the way we know the child. When you see a parent coming, the way they comport themselves, the way they are, sometimes they're even late, sometimes they don't even come. No wonder the child doesn't care coming late to school. You see, we understand those things, we see those things, and they are real. Or when you want to call a child's parent, and the child says, "Well, if you want to," oh my God, then you understand what is happening at home. You see, because a child, I remember my children, this is very funny. One day, I came to pick my child, the one who is 21 years old. He was still in primary school. I think it was year four. I came to pick him from school. I was coming from work. And then he said to me, "Mom, my teacher wants to speak to you." I looked at him in a way that was meant, wow, you're finished. And I don't know what happened. I think the teacher saw me from far. And the teacher said, "No, ma'am, it's very good. It's a very good thing. I would like to see you because he wrote a very interesting piece of writing. And we have to put it on the school poster. And that's the reason why I wanted to see you, to show you." And I said, "Okay, that's fine." And do you know the reason why? My eyes were looking at my child like, "What what did you say? Did you just say that the teacher want to see me?" Because my children had been instructed as soon as they leave reception, which when they start primary school, that school should never ever call me over you. The one who just graduated from university, I've never had a phone call that he was late or he didn't do his homework or any other reason. Never. I say never. He just finished university. The one who is finishing a secondary school next year, the same. And my children have been waking up, doing everything on their own. I have never been behind them asking, "Have you done your homework?" You're going to even laugh. Recently, very recently, I think it was 2, 3 weeks ago, I asked my 17-year-old son, it was just before going back to school. It was 3 weeks ago exactly. I said, "Have you done your homework?" He looked at me like, "Mom, since when do you ask me if I did my homework?" I said, "Well, I think maybe I needed something to say because school is tomorrow." That's all, you know, because I don't check if he's done his homework. I don't. I stopped doing that, I think, maybe in primary school. Instruction was done from primary school. School should never call me over your homework. School should never call me because you're late. School should never call me because you misbehaved. So much that I remember when the youngest one was in primary school, one day I went to pick him, and then the teacher said, I don't know, he's so intelligent, is this, but you know what? It would be good if you can speak it, Even now, at the age of 17, someone recently asked me, well, oh, what? Someone said, well, I just heard him speaking. I was like, what? Come and see when he's with his friends on the phone or in the games or with his brother. I said, yeah. And you know what instruction they received when they were younger? That instruction started from when we went shopping. I used to have a friend when we would go shopping in Asda. The children are all around. The mom is looking after the children. Where are they? Where are they? Mine said, listen, when we go shopping, my cart is here. One is here and the other one is here. I should not look for you. So when I went with my friend, that her children are running all over, picking this, mom, I want this, mom, I want that. My children did not have that. No, no, no. I've got my list. I asked you what you wanted, and we go through the list. You are not going to go, mom, I want this, I want that, I want that. No, it's not happening with me. So my children would not, you won't see them running here and there in Asda or in a shop or anything. No, that was the instruction. The same when we took the train, we go to Paris, or we come and we travel. I don't want to be shouting at you. I don't want to be raising my voice. One day they did. I don't know. I think they had forgotten the instruction. We were in the first class of Eurostar going to Paris. They were so, so, so noisy. And I looked at them after warning once. I said, calm down now. It's enough. My friends, I said to them, listen, when people take the first class, it's not to hear children bothering them. It's actually to avoid the crowd. And now they were making noise. I don't know, they were excited. I said, listen, stop it. They didn't listen. Stop it. They didn't listen. Third time, I showed the eyes. And I remember a lady saying, oh, ma'am, I like this. How did you do that? After that, they were calm because they knew that the eyes meant as soon as we go to Paris, if you're 5 years old, the belt, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on you. If you're two, 1, 2 on you. That was it. Instructions and consistency. That's how I educated my children. You need to teach them, you need to educate them. The outside world will not educate your child. School is there to teach them how to read, write, and everything, and do things and prepare for life and career. But for them to succeed, is you at home who has to enforce that. If you don't enforce, your children would not be able to get the education that they need actually to fulfill their full potential in life. And unfortunately, today, because we are in a society that is creating um, quick solutions, many children are in that position where they don't know where to fit anymore. When you speak about a career, they don't know what they want to do. They don't know where they are going. And the parents are not there to try and help them, to sit down with them and ask them, where exactly are you going? What do you want to study? What do you like? What are the things you like? What are your aspirations in life? Where do you want to go? How can I help you? We, the parents, it's our duty to do that. We should not leave the children there and wait. We have to be there for them. You see, let me give you a few scriptures so that we can actually understand a bit more. Just give me a few minutes. I'll give you a few scriptures. Look at that. Everything that we want, as I said, is in the Bible. Proverbs 22, verse 6 says, train up a child in the way he should go. And when he is old, he will not depart from it. So, who trains the child is the parent. You are supposed to train your child. Teach them. Teach them the things that are valuable. Teach them the things that are important. You see, it's not about teaching. Today, we have an education that is based on poverty mentality. What is an education that is based on poverty mentality? It's an education that we based on showing off. So we are taking our children as trophies and we put brand brands on them as our trophies. Do you think, listen, there are so many fake brands out there, so no one cares about the brand anymore. If you want to make your child to be your trophy, make that child to learn so that they can succeed in life and make you proud. You make a child a trophy by making them a little, branded all over. They don't know the value of whatever you are doing, and they don't even understand why you have to work day and night to give them that money. The best trophy you can earn in life is when your child goes to school and achieves his full potential and is not in the street making doing things that brings you heartache or blood pressure. So we need to understand that the foundation and the things that we are doing today are those, and the decisions that we are making for our children will affect their lives tomorrow, especially in a world that has become very complicated. We need to be very, very careful, very careful. I remember a long time ago, I was speaking with a pastor, and I said, and I brought up this scripture. The pastor raised their eyes like, ugh. It was Proverbs 29:15 said, the rod of reproof give wisdom, but the child led to himself brings his mother to shame. I think it was actually the next one, verse Proverbs 23, verse 13. Withhold not correction from the child, for if you beat him with the rod, he shall not die. The child replied, what? I said, yes. And then I said to them, I remember my child, my eldest son, one day, he was still, I think, maybe 3 years old. Because I didn't give him something, he slapped me. I didn't give him, I was carrying him. He wanted something, and I didn't give it to him, and he slapped me. I got a choke. Hey! You know what my reflex? I put him on the floor. I don't know what age, I think it was three. Because it was three, it was one, two, three. I said, now cry. He said, never do this again. And I remember someone saying, me said, don't do this to a child. I said, well, don't do that to yours. I'm doing it to mine because when he's 18, he's going to beat me up. He's slapping me now at 3 and I let go. He's going to beat me up when he's 18. Do it with your child, but not me. Not me. We need to learn to teach our children. I'm not saying, and I am not advocating beating up. I'm talking about correction. Some corrections need to be done the right way. You see, my children grew up, they will never say that they were beaten. They were corrected when they needed to be corrected. But when they reached a certain age, I understood that I cannot correct them with the rod. So I started correcting them differently. I started correcting them differently. But correction has never stopped until I could see maturity and I allow them, this is important, I allow them to make their own mistakes. I allow them to make their own mistakes and correct those mistakes. One of my sons, the eldest one, used to have friends that I used to see. I didn't like those friends. I didn't like them. And I actually told him that, those friends, I'm not sure they're your friends. But I did not tell him, don't go around with them. I didn't say anything. I just didn't like them. And because I had a feeling that they were smoking things that I find not right. That was my feeling. I didn't ask my son, but that was my feeling. Sometimes we feel it, we see those things, yeah? We can see them. But I don't even want to bring suspicion on him if he doesn't see anything. So I did not say anything. But I actually prayed because I'm a pastor. That's what I did. I prayed. I said, Lord. And I was really convinced that they are not good people. You know? And God proved me right. One day they were playing football. He hurt his feet. They left him there, down there, go past our home, non-stop to even call me to go and pick him from the field. See? Then, a few days later, they were back at our home asking for him to come and play. He was the one saying, I don't want to see you anymore. And that is the moment after that, when he could not go and he was hurting, he said he doesn't want to see them. And that is the moment he actually disclosed that the same friends wanted him to fight one day in the park with a boy. And do you know that it's that boy they wanted him to fight with who actually helped him to bring him home when he was hurt? See? Then that is the moment he disclosed that. I said, you see, I have known they are not good friends. And I told you, but I didn't want to tell you, well, I wanted you to make your own decision. But now he was the one making the decision. Because if you make the decision for them, it's going to become a rebellion in your home. Oh, now you're choosing my friends. Because they are no longer the age you can make decisions. They are teenagers. Teenagers in their 15, 16s, it's difficult. So you can't be making decisions as if they cannot think. And that is what many parents are going through right now. You are having difficult children because you want to control them. Listen, being a parent is controlling a child, but it has to be a measured control. You can no longer control a child of 15 as if that child was 5 years old. So that's the reason why sometimes you have these problems because we don't see our children growing. And as they grow, we need to also adapt our corrections. We need to adapt the way we speak to them. We need to actually take into account their own opinions, their own way of seeing things. And sometimes we fail to do that. We fail to do that. And then it brings more conflicts because there's a time. I'm not going to tell you that I didn't have opportunities to have conflicts with my children, but I made the choice as a mother. I didn't say as a single mother, as a mother alone with my children, not to exacerbate situations, not to make things go um, the wrong direction by sometimes just remaining silent. Being silent does not mean you have lost control. No, being silent gives you more power sometimes. The child may not even expect you to be silent in that situation because they expect the reaction, they expect you to say something, and then you don't. Maybe they don't even know what to do. So we need to understand that sometimes when a child does something, when we are educating our children from home, the first thing, whatever they do, is trust. When you have lost the trust of your child, it becomes more difficult for them to see how you love them. Because trust is key when it comes to education. To educate someone properly, they need to trust you. I'm talking about a child. They need to trust that what you're doing for them is good for them. How many children think that what the parents are doing is not good for them? That is the reason why they are in that conflicting situation where they are trying to take one way while the parent is saying take the other way. However, when you educate your child in a way that they understand that you care for them, you care for their decisions, you care for their opinion, and you listen to them. How do you listen to a child? Listen, I am such a busy person that I'm always on the phone or on my laptop when I am at home. But there is one thing that I have taught myself to do when I noticed that I was not doing what was right. And that thing is simple. If any of my child comes down, because I'm always down on the in the living room, that's where I like to be. As soon as I see one of them, whatever I am doing, I've got to stop it and make eye contact. I stop it and make eye contact. You can't be speaking to your child looking like, oh, yes, 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 I'm with you, yeah, yeah, yeah. Your child is telling you your story, or you're like this, yeah, yeah. Oh, yes, yes, yeah. No, no. We need to re educate ourselves as parents. We need to make time as parents. I make time with my children, have meetings with them when things are not right. Instead of shouting at each other like a ping pong game, have a meeting, sit down, speak. Okay, these are things that are working good, these are things that are not working well. Okay, how can we improve them? What do you think? What do you think? It's so important. Oh, wow, mom, dad wants to do what I'm thinking. So they kind of care. How many children say, oh, I don't care? You know the reason why they don't care? Because they think you don't care. And why do they think you don't care? Because you don't make time for them, or you're not there for them, or when you are there, you're still absent. You see? Does it mean you don't feed them? It doesn't mean that. Does it mean you don't give them money? It doesn't mean that. You can be doing all these things, but what a child wants is you, is your eye contact, is hearing you telling them that you are there and you are really there. So we need to learn to get back, I would say, the control as parents, because most of the time we have given our roles to schools, to the society, especially when we are single parents, we give it to the society. How? How do we do that? Because the society is giving us money. The society is helping us rear our children. You see, look at countries like Africa, sorry, many countries like in Africa, developing countries, or even some countries in Asia. Why do you have less divorce than Europe? Because they don't have a welfare society. Today, how sad is it that a child in a household will be happy as a teenager to get pregnant, maybe just to because they know that if they get pregnant, it will be a passport of freedom to leave the family home. What does it say about your home then? What does it say about your family? If a child is just waiting to be 18 to leave, what does it say about your parenting? It just says that the child has never found peace in that home. Because when someone is at peace, they don't want to leave. They don't want to go. They want to stay. See? But now, younger and younger children wants to leave their families. Why? Because they don't find peace, they don't find the presence, they don't find the love. How many young girls very early have children because they can have the council giving them a home? Is because they never found a home. And I am talking for facts, about facts that I know. I've been working as an education specialist for 11 years. I've seen young teenagers pregnant. I've seen young teenagers in drugs. I've seen young teenagers, 15-year-old, the memory was gone. And with painful to see. Short memory, like an old person, because they started weed, they were, I think, the age of 13 or 11 or 13. What happened? Where were the parents? What happened? See, we need to be in a place where we really reflect. The streets are bad now. Everywhere is bad. Of course, if it's an accident, a sad accident, we can understand. But what about those children who purposely live a dangerous life because at home there's no peace and they have never found peace at home? And the comfort they can find is on the streets. That is what is sad. That is what we have to address. That is what we want parents to learn when they come here. We're going to speak about tips, things that you can put into place in your home to bring back peace, tips about parenting, things that can encourage you, things you can do. Positive parenting is important. We're going to be talking about all these things. What do you do when you have a child that is pushing the button? Because sometimes that's what is happening. What do you do when you have um, sibling who are always like rivals? They just, quarreling all the time. How do you resolve problems, issues within your family? How do you do these things? How do you keep calm in the midst of adversity, in the midst of drama? Because some children are dramatic and brings drama home. What do you do? How do you behave? What are your family values? You need to reflect. What are your family values? I can tell you mine. My family values are set, and my children know is love, unity, and peace. Love, unity, and peace. It's important to recall all these things. How do you do things so that you can remain in charge in your family and not let every negative behavior go, or just do things, and you have given up you have given up hope on your child? No, it's possible to take back all the control. And of course, we're going to give you tips on how to apply positive discipline and how to bring back a child even if they are wayward. It's possible. I just want to give every parent here today who is finding it difficult with a child the hope that it is possible to bring back a wayward child. It is possible. You know, I've seen with different families, working with different families around London, especially for the last 10 years, how love can really bring broken relationships back, create a dynamic that changes things. But the problem is the understanding of that love. Many parents don't know how to love their children. They they love, they think unconditional love means giving the child whatever they want. No. But the fact is, when you ask that parent, imagine, God forbid, something happens to you. And when you're giving a child everything that they want, I say everything, you are buying a child really. Even for a smile, you're buying it. Okay, now, if you do that, you'd never allow the child to evolve that by themselves and do things by themselves or learn by themselves or to be a bit more independent without you. But now, God forbid something happens to you, what will become of that child? Many parents don't think about that. And I praise God that the way my children were raised, and have been traveling a lot. Even when I traveled, I remember that was 2014. So my eldest one was 14 and the other one was 10 years old. And I left my children with someone that they have never actually lived with. It was someone new to them. And I went to America and I was going to Haiti. And the person called me saying, their children are not normal. I said, why? I said, children like this will try and go out or, because you're not there. I said, no, actually they are normal. That's how children should behave. They don't take advantage of the fact that I am absent. Actually, when I am not there, that's when they're actually looking at each other and they pay attention to the rules that I have set. And that's how children should be. Not that when the cats are gone, woo, party. No, no. All depends on how you have educated them, how the foundations are set. So all that is coming, developed in more structure. Today was just an introduction. And I hope that it gives you food to think. You need to be able to start reflecting on those things that you heard today. In the meantime, remain blessed and be prepared to learn much more in the days to come, because we're going to be here every last Monday of the month giving you more tips. I'll have people who will come and share with us, giving you advice and tips to become a better parent. But for now, know that you are the best parent you can ever be for your child. Stay blessed in Jesus' name.